We find ourselves in the midst of some uncertain economic times. You guys feel it. We all know it. We see what's happening around us. And it's in times of chaos and times of change when we tend to hunker down, maintain status quo, don't cause any waves, just do what you got to do to get through it. Well, this morning, we're going to turn that thinking on its head. We're not hunkering down. Instead, we're going to talk about how to turn chaos into opportunity. Now, look, this is one of the most valuable lessons I have learned in my 25-year career in business and politics. And I shared it actually maybe last week, couple of weeks ago in my Pull Up Your Chair coaching program. And yes, okay, it blew their minds because this is so antithetical to the way we think. You may have the same reaction this morning, but look, I can't give you the secret sauce that I give them, but what I can do is introduce this concept to you to get you thinking about how you're reacting in these uncertain times that are before us. And yes, if you've been joining me for all these countdown videos, and we're counting down the top 50 career tips to help you succeed in any role. And today is number 42. How to turn chaos into opportunity. And as we talk about chaos, think about it. Chaos is often born out of change. Chaos Chaos is all around us. It may be personal, it may be professional. Think about what's going on in your workplace right now. How are you reacting? How is your company reacting to these uncertain times? That that chaos and that change around you is the opportunity that we're going to talk about how you can look for this morning, because there are four simple words, and that's it. Just four words that I want you to focus on to turn chaos into opportunity. Just four. You ready? Hope you guys have a pen and a pencil. Write these down because you're going to want to remember these. And again, this blew some people's minds when I introduced this concept in my program. So it may do the same for you. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it now as we walk through this morning. Hey, listen, if you want to talk more about how this applies to your particular situation, you see that link down there? Got my half my screen off. It's connect.cicely.me. Can you guys see that link? Look, grab 10-15 minutes on my calendar. Let's talk through this. And I'm actually going to give you some actual client examples this morning, people who are following this advice. So stay with me because you're going to want to hear these examples because they may actually help you as well. But again, listen, I'm happy to grab 10 or 15 minutes I'm happy for you to grab time on my calendar. Use that link. This is probably the better hand to use. Use that link, connect.cicely.me. Let's talk through it and how it applies to you. Okay, I bought you some time. Bought you 5 or 10 seconds. Hopefully you have your pencil and paper. Let's jump in. The four words that I'm talking about is challenge, status quo thinking. If you think about it, the status quo, the root of chaos is the status quo. So you want to challenge the root of the chaos, not the fruit of it. The fruit of it is all the activity and all the changes happening around you. The root of the chaos is status quo thinking. Look at what's going on right now with the Fed. Look at what's happening around us. Perfect example. The Federal Reserve has always had these tools they've used, and they've used the same tools. Well, guess what? They didn't take into account all the money that was flooding into the system from the COVID dollars that were given out. So now the root of the cause for the Fed is status quo thinking has gotten us into this mess. I would beg to say the same thing is happening in your company. If you're busy reacting right now, if there are layoffs happening, if there are things going on around you and you're watching the chaos, the root of the chaos is status quo thinking. You have to challenge that status quo thinking both within yourself but also what you see around you at work. And the way you challenge it within yourself, and I get it, I'm going to give you an example here in just a moment, so stay with me. But the way you challenge status quo thinking of yourself, you just gotta muster that moment of courage to raise your hand and say, have we thought about, and I'm going to give you an example, but you fill in the blank. So the challenging the status quo thinking of yourself is don't hunker down right now. Look for opportunities that you can take advantage of because they're all around you. people are leaving your workplace. Does that create an opportunity for you to move up into a new role? People around you are looking to maintain calm and quiet. How do you become the disruptor that takes advantage of the change around you? And the status quo thinking in your company is what you're going to challenge as well. Challenge the fact that you're doing what you've always done and expecting a different result. That is the challenging the status quo that we're talking about. And here's the example I'm going to give. I have a client who we've been working together for a few months. That person came into a company that was absolutely in the midst of chaos even before the economic times started. They kind of couldn't get out of their own way. They were having a tough time with their stores, they're having a tough time with some of their franchisees, and so she was brought in to a role to kind of, start new strategy, start fresh. Well, but in the midst of all this chaos, everybody was just doing what they've always done. So she came to me and she said, I feel like I should follow your advice. And now is the time for me to raise my hand and say, why are we doing what we've always done? Have we thought about a new strategy, a new course of action? And she and I talked through it. We talked through some new initiatives that she could offer. We talked about how she can challenge status quo thinking while being respectful of the company in the process, but raising her hand and saying, I have a new idea that I think is going to chart a new course for us. And so we talked through it in a couple of phone calls. She went to the CEO and she made her case. She found her moment when she said they're looking for a new marketing initiative that they want to launch that they believe is going to increase sales and increase customer counts coming into the stores. Cicely, she said, this is my moment. This is my moment to go in and say, I have a new idea. What you're doing is not working, and here's how I think we can turn it around. And she did it. She walked into the CEO's office, told him what she'd observed in her first 90 days on the job. She offered her new idea and her new initiative. Company, the CEO thought it was brilliant. They've now implemented her idea as a company wide initiative, and she has now made her own way to creating a position for herself in the company because she dared to raise her hand and challenge status quo thinking. She has now created opportunities for herself where they love her and they love that she brought a different perspective to the table that no one was willing to offer because everybody was so busy hunkered down just hoping the storm would pass. But she raised her hand and said, hang on a second. Here's what I've observed. Here's where I think we're going wrong. Here's what I think we can do different. That is the ultimate example of challenging status quo thinking. And she did a fantastic job of it. And now, to be honest with you, the world's kind of her oyster at her company. They look to her for new ideas. They want her at the table in leadership meetings. They want her ideas. That, my friends, is how you challenge status quo thinking. That is how you look around right now at the chaos and change around you and say, hang on a second. Have we thought about what if we tried? Clearly, what we've done is not working. I have a different idea. You decide the manifestation of that sentence. You decide how you want to say it. And again, jump on my calendar, connect.cicely.me. I'll give you some language cues to talk through it if you give me your specific example. But what I'm asking you this morning is to have the courage to challenge status quo thinking. I've done it in my career. It gave me phenomenal results when I was newly in my role at the representing the restaurant industry, and now as I teach this to other people, the results are phenomenal. And she's just enjoying all the glory, all the praise, all the accolades that she can get from her CEO and her company for bringing a new idea forward. So I challenge you this morning to challenge yourself. Challenge the status quo thinking. Again, you're challenging the root of the problem, which is the status quo thinking, not the fruit. The fruit is all the failed activities that are happening around you. When you challenge status quo thinking, you open up opportunities for yourself and you create your own destiny. Trust me on that. If you're with me this morning and you know that we're on career tip number 42, then I hope you're enjoying this countdown. Check out the last video here check out the entire playlist here. And then, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe because I'm going to bring more valuable content to you as we do this countdown.